Aries.
Aries, happy birthday. This is your birthday month. And what does that mean? It means you have the sun in your first house. And this is the time of the year that you radiate the most. And when you give out your energy to the world at its best, it's there at the rising sign. And remember, your rising sign is always the energy that we give out to the world and how the world will perceive you. So for you here in this solar house, the sun now is in a perfect place for it to take action, initiate. It's going to be a busy month for you just because of this solar energy. Now last month it was residing in the 12th house, and that's that spiritual sanctuary where we pull back and recharge our batteries so that we can come out in our birthday month and skid ahead here for the next coming 12 months. So hopefully that was good for you. And then last month it was special, as in March we had the total solar eclipse here at 29 degrees Pisces, which was in your 12th house. And so that made probably a big difference for some of you, whatever it was. Something from your subconsciousness or something karmically might have come up there on March 20th. Now, if you're listening to this early in the month, you might not still have listened to the eclipse video that you can find on the site and catch up on it, though. Gives you some insight what you can expect March 20th. But we have another eclipse here, and this is for April. On April 4th, we are going to have a total lunar eclipse on April 4th. And for you, Aries, it's going to show up in your 7th house for relationships, partnerships, those you deal with closely, one-on-one. And a total lunar eclipse, that brings up our emotions. It's the moon that's going to be eclipsed. So, and yes, it denotes change. And some people don't really like change, and you know, I've heard comments, it's like it's scary, what's going to leave, right? But think about it this way. In order to evolve, evolution in itself for everybody comes through change. When we're done with a chapter, that needs to close in order to get into a new beginning. So new beginnings can never start unless we leave the old room, right? And the universe is always looking out for your higher good and the higher best for you. And so it won't remove something that is good for you. It will only close those chapters that are fulfilled, completed, and so forth. So have no fear. You want to open your heart. Be ready for it, because what it's going to do, it's going to launch you into those new beginnings. So that's April 4th. Very important. It is going to be there in 14 degrees of Libra. So if you have any other planets at 14 degrees around your chart, well, this full moon and total lunar eclipse will be affecting those planets, those areas in your chart as well. And that can give you a little indicator perhaps also what might come to a closure. But don't just stick with the closure. It will also indicate new beginnings. And it normally takes like a month to a day for these eclipses to fulfill itself. So by the 4th of May, give it one day, as they say, to May 5th, you will come to see the full package of what this eclipse has in store for you. But initially, by placement in your solar chart, it's the 7th house of relationships. Then we have here also in the 1st house for you, Aries. The 1st house is personality. It's who you are, how you radiate, what you initiate and bring out. We have company there with Mercury and Uranus. Now Uranus is in a long transit here, but Uranus is going to have visitation there from the Sun and Mercury. The Sun being you, Mercury being your thoughts, your linear thoughts. And so that should really boost up something here that could be quite exciting. We love those new moons. That's when we place our intentions. And for those of you who write your abundance check, don't forget it. We have the new moon also in this area here, 28 degrees in your sign, Aries, here on, let me see, on the 18th. So the 18th, mark that on your calendar. And for those of you who haven't yet started to write your abundance check and know how they work, sign up for that newsletter. I will be posting a short video on how to write it and what you can expect from these abundance checks. So Mars and Venus both, they are activating your income sector, the second house. And so this month is essentially very important to you, as was March, because Venus was already in there doing its thing. Venus rules money too, and in the money sector is having you focus even more on how you can create a better income, how you can situate it, how perhaps you can attract it. Venus is in Taurus this month, and so it's kind of like a triple whammy. Why? Venus is there in the second house, which is ruled by Venus, in the sign of Taurus, which rules Venus. So it's like you've got this triple energy going on here. So this could be a fantastic money month for you, Aries. Now, to up it just a little bit, here we have Mars sitting on the cusp, wanting to enter in, join the crowd, get some action going. You know how Mars is, it's Marsy, and it really wants to whip up a storm and take control on how it is you can come to improve that financial income. So then we have Jupiter still here in your fifth house, and the good news here is that this Jupiter is going to start moving direct again on April 8th. Now this area where it's residing rules your creativity, your self-expression, it's love and romance, and it's also children. And the businesses that you own and not the company you work for. So here, Jupiter now, when it starts picking up speed after the 8th, don't expect it overnight, because it's going to take time to find its traction and pick up that speed. But at least now she will be on your side and wanting to expand this area of creativity and how you interact and relate with your children. You might see your children also be moving forward, that there will be good news coming from them as we move ahead. And also as far as your relationships, well, that will also take a nice, beautiful boost. It's in the sign of Leo, which is heart ruled, right? So you can come to see how this may be working for you as well. We have that full moon, as we spoke about, that's on the 4th, 7th house, love, relationships, commitments, and so forth. The 9th house is activated here by Saturn. Saturn in Sag in the 9th area is all about education and you researching, digging deeper into your own knowledge base. It's your philosophy, your outlook on life, and Saturn's wanting to kind of really ground this and get you more knowledgeable. You can use this in form of also teaching, which Saturn will do. This area is all about getting that knowledge out. So either you may be doing it and providing it, or it could also be that you will be seeking more knowledge in the higher realms. Pluto in the 10th, we know, we talk about that every month. It's your career house. Pluto's still transforming things, and it is by the other transits, the aspects that it gets is what will activate it from time to time and boost it, so to speak. So yes, we have spoken a little bit about the astro calendar. I tried to change it up last month and I've had mixed reports. Some people love the extra additional video. Some of you still like it in the traditional way. So I will add it back in here to the traditional, and I will make a separate one so we have both groups really happy about it. Starting April 2nd here for you, Aries, Mercury and Saturn beautifully aligned. It means that communication on this day will be able to solidify and bring some good roots into the picture of something that you've been working on. To add to this is also the Sun and Jupiter. The Sun essentially being you, Jupiter wanting to expand, right? And having it in a trine, it's just a very fortunate day. It's one of these days, we only have it 3 days in a year that we'll have the trine, well actually just twice a year, we'll have the trine, and then we have once a year the conjunction, where we have these very favorable aspects where we can feel blessed by the Jupiter energy. So April 2nd, and then, as I just mentioned, Mercury will be aligning with Saturn to secure whatever it is now that is expanding for you. On the 4th, total lunar eclipse, 7th house relationships. On the 5th, we have the Sun and Pluto squaring. So we have a bit of a challenge here. And sometimes, yes, we can look at squares being stressful. However, though, I like to call it dynamic when we have squares. Why? Because it really gets us going. It helps us push through to do those things that we need to do. Pluto's all about transformation, so you might take a situation that's been pending and not maybe necessarily dealt with. If you've dealt with it, well, this should be, a non-difficult day. Excuse me. If you haven't dealt with it, well, this will be the day for you to actually take action and get this completed. For that, Pluto is good. On the 6th, we got a couple of aspects. We got Mercury now coming into a trine to Jupiter. So that's kind of following up what happened there, took place on the 2nd. So there could be communications today that is favorable, where you're feeling things are falling into place, and it might kick open a door for you because the Sun is now conjuncting Uranus of surprise. They're in that first house of yours. So happy, good days. I feel that whole first week of April should be especially very good for most of you Aries here. And so this is great. Loving it. On the 7th and 8th, well, here we need to talk a little bit about these challenges. Now, that Sun-Pluto might have been, yes, something you needed to do on the 5th. If you didn't do it, then the 7th and 8th will come up with questions for you from the outside world asking you, why didn't you complete or do this or that? So you might be delayed with something. So please try to get it done on the 5th so you don't have to go through Mercury's being tested here by both Pluto and Uranus. And we know Pluto and Uranus, they're still in that square, right? And when Mercury kind of ties into squaring both of them, it's going to feel a little sandwiched, okay? Pressure from both sides. So in that, well, yes, not too happy or easy, should I say, of a situation. But you should be good. You should be good there. Just be aware. On the 8th, we have Jupiter going direct. Yay! After 4 or 5 months. So she's in your court, and she is currently moving, like I said, through the 5th house of creativity, self-expression, love and relationships. All of this should now start shining. And then Venus, we have moving or changing signs out of your money house, out of the 2nd house into the 3rd house of communication. This takes place on the 11th. So where you've been crunching numbers for a long time, now moving into Gemini and the 3rd house, it's going to be more about sharing news, communication. It's what you speak, how you share, who you share with. It's just generally being more interactive also in the closer community of where you live. For those of you who love to write, great time to do so, because Gemini loves to express itself, and having Venus there, it just makes you that much more articulate too. On the 12th, Mars, now in that financial income sector, is now lining up sextile to Neptune, and Mars now is taking control. Venus wanted, Venus always wants and wants to secure financial security. It may not always act. Venus can be lazy. It just wants to be beautiful. But here comes Mars and following the footsteps of Venus, and will take action on all of those things that you were contemplating, and we'll try to put it into place. And since it's aspected here to Neptune, I feel Neptune is, always your hopes and dreams and your visions, and being in the 12th house of the subconsciousness. I'm feeling that pay attention to your subconscious thoughts here on this day. You might just come across some beautiful project or something that you would like to bring up and out that could affect your money income stream, since it is that second house. Mercury moves into Taurus on the 14th, so we're going to be thinking more in the Taurian forms rather than the Aryan forms where we've been this last month. So Mercury too will start wanting to add to that financial income sector. So we can see we have a lot going on this month between who you are, what you're expressing in that first house, and that all that energy pouring into the second house of money and then starting to express it. These are your main areas here for April. We have Pluto moving retrograde here on the 16th, so it will remain there for the better part of between 4 to 5 months. Pluto for you is your 10th house. That's the career house. So Pluto now is going to take a break. You've been pushing, moving forward, and now Pluto is going to help you rest a little bit upon it. Not saying it's totally deactivated by being in a retro, but it's going to give you time to breathe, go back over what you have been doing these last months and seeing whether that works for you, if you're happy with it in your job, or whether there's things you want to tweak. That will become clear by the end of the retrograde, and that's where you're going to pick up and start when it goes direct again. New moon on the 18th. Remember the abundance checks, 28 degrees Aries. You want to see if that new moon will kick into other aspects in your personal chart. If you have any other planets there at 28 degrees in any sign. The 19th, beware, could be a little disappointment on this day. It happens. We have those days in between. This is because of Venus squaring off on Neptune. So there could be something you were hoping for where maybe the bubble will burst. It all depends. If Venus gets support aspects to her while it's squaring off on that Neptune. In that case, you can get through it really nice. If not, it might just be one of those days, right? So don't expect too much here on this day. On the 20th, Mars is moving out of that area of your income. Now it's going to be following Venus into the area of communication, and you will see how travel might be a little bit more important for you after the 20th. In that case, not necessarily long distance travel, but it could be a nice road trip. Just out of town and back. A weekend getaway is always really nice when we have these third house directions. 21st, Pluto and Mars, they're going to be aligned beautifully. So this is when we have all that extra energy to pick up and get our projects going. This is when we can push boulders uphill, because Mars is our physical drive and energy, and Pluto gets the work done. It will not let go before the project is done. And so, we love to have that. When these two forces are working harmoniously together, we can complete so much in relative short time. Mercury will join the crowd also there on the 21st, coming into the 22nd with a trine to Pluto there with Mars. And it is also conjuncting that Mars. So verbally, you may be able to communicate and move mountains on this day. So you're coming across feeling very not just confident in what you're trying to relay, but you're also being able to convince somebody of whatever project you're wanting to bring out. So Great day for that on the 22nd. We're ending the month here for you, Aries, with Venus and Uranus sextile, which is always great. Venus is love and Uranus is the unexpected. So as long as it's a good aspect, you can expect the unexpected to take place in a good way for you. So listen here, Aries, this is what I have for you this month.